If you want to build more rapport with people, then follow this 4-step formula that I used for years as a head of business development. The first is you need to have a great opener. And the opener doesn't have to be complex, but my two favorites are, "Hi, nice to meet you, how are you?" And "Hi, my name is Preston, what's your name?" These are simple, open-ended questions, and they get the other person to respond. So once you establish that, you have a firm handshake, you make great eye contact, you approach them directly, then the next thing is you need to have the next question prepared. Because when you ask a question, it allows you to gauge their level of receptiveness to you. Are they willing to engage, or do they just provide you with 1 or 2 word answers? And so what I like to do is I have a series of questions that I will ask whenever I'm meeting someone new. And those range from, "Hey, what brought you to X location?" And that X location is where we typically are together. Or it might be something that caught your eye and you just have a follow-up question. "Hey, I love the fact that your background has Minnesota Vikings gear. Curious what got you to be a fan." Just opens it up. Or about something that recently happened. For example, what was the highlight of your weekend? And then I might even ask something like, "Hey, I noticed that you've been at X company for 7 years. What's kept you there that long?" Or I might have seen that you're based in Atlanta. "I was from Atlanta. What part of Atlanta are you from?" Or I might even call out a mutual connection. "I was really excited that Marley Rose, our common connection, put us in touch. How do you know Marley?" But what I'm doing across all these questions is I'm finding common ground, because that is more likely to get people to open up. Then the next thing that I do is I do what's called conversational threading. What is that? This is essentially answering questions in the form of stories that are short, but give your other person the opportunity to pull on a thread that interests them. Okay, so the goal is you want to tell really powerful stories, but short, and giving enough sparks for them to latch onto. Now, what are ways to tell those short stories? You can either tell a short story in one of the 3 following ways. You can give them a top action. You can give them a top emotion that you felt, or you can give them a top thought. It could be a learning, a takeaway, a realization, any of those things. So once you have told those short stories, you've then given the other side the opportunity to react to that. So an example might be, the most embarrassing thing that happened to me recently was less than a year ago when I was playing in a charity table tennis tournament, and this was after work, and I made it to the final, and I remember lunging after a ball and my pants ripped down the middle in front of 400 people. And I knew that there'd be a spotlight on me in the final. I wasn't expecting that kind of exposure. So when that happens, there are a lot of things that you're wondering. You're wondering, well, what was that table tennis event? Or how did you get to the final? How are you that good? Or my goodness, like, how did you feel afterwards? There are many different ways that people can respond, but I am emphasizing a peak action, which is the rip down my pants. And then once you've built enough rapport with that individual, you've gotten to know them, then the next thing is the exit. And how do you exit? Well, some people like to say, well, you need to exit by asking them, "Can I get you a drink?" And then if they say no, then that's your segue to move on. I like to be more upfront and authentic with it. So if I'm done, if I'm feeling good, then there's a polite way to say this, which is, "Hey, it was great to meet you. I'm going to go ahead and meet some other folks, but would love to stay in touch." Or if you're not really feeling like staying in touch, you could just say, "Hey, thanks so much for your time, and it was great to meet you. I hope you have a wonderful time at this conference." And then they'll get the cue, and then you're on your way out. But it's a gracious way to end. It's also not superficial. It's not fake. And honestly, it gets you the opportunity to feel like you're in control of the exchange, that you're not beholden to them by any means. All right, give that a try. Let me know what you think.